What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. I am Keem, real name Joaquin. I have taken a bit of a hiatus from the whole podcasting thing, right? Content creation thing. I really wanted to I guess at the end of the day, just kind of like rebrand and just talk about something different. I didn't like just coming at things from the perspective of a trainer, right? Though I like working out, there's a lot of like other things that I like doing, right? I'm a 33-year-old dude, right? So I've traveled a bit. I've lived in I've lived in 3 countries, right? Including America. You know what I'm saying? I've done my fair share of partying, did a little bodybuilding, had different jobs, right? So there's a lot of different things that I want to talk about. And from what I remember, right, or everything that I've like just gathered, the things that I talk about with guys that I've trained or my friends the most is where we've traveled, right? Women, girls, girlfriend, wife, wanting to look good and be healthy for your family, for our family, being in the gym, money, what I'm saying? How much money we want to make, how we're going to get there, politics, so those have really been like the basis of like almost every good laugh that I get or every great conversation I get with my guys or even acquaintance sports, it's always one of those 6 categories. So this new direction of what I'm going to be talking about, the overarching goal, still the overarching, umbrella, it's still like fitness, it's still be healthy, but this podcast is for dudes, right? Which is why I'm renaming it This is a Man's World, right? This is a man's world. From my standpoint, I'm a dude. All I know is dude. I think like a dude. I eat like a dude. I smell like a dude. You know what I'm saying? So from my perspective, that is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And not to say that the female perspective doesn't matter, because it does, right? Let's be real, it does. But I'm a dude, and my message is mainly going to reach dudes. I know how to get through 2 dudes. I've been on like sports teams from the day I was born, through college. You know what I'm saying? So, this my message, right, will be under the umbrella of typically one of those 6 overarching, being healthy and fitness being the main one, right? But, women, where I've traveled, girls, right? Politics. I'm gonna dive a bit more into that because I feel like as I'm getting older, it's just something that, and I like to travel, right? I just came back from Brazil, and you guys are gonna hear a lot about that, So, sports. I mean, come on now. Like, let's just put it like this. Right now you got basketball going on. Don't get me wrong. I'm a LeBron fan. And I watch the playoffs, but I'm not too much of a regular season dude. I'm really a football guy, right? As right now you have a good amount of, you got college indoor nationals just ended. Then you got outdoor NCAA. The pros are starting to run now, which is good. Give me something to watch because football's over, right? You have UFC every now and then, but one of the things that broke my heart recently, is I love Israel Adesanya, right? I love Israel Adesanya, and he's taken a couple L's, right? So I saw something on the gram about he might be retiring. I don't know if it's true or not. I haven't watched an interview with those words coming out of his mouth, so I don't know yet, but I'm sure it'll be confirmed soon, right? Alex Pereira, he lost, so and he was going really, really strong. And a loss doesn't really doesn't dictate your entire career. However, combat sports, it's kind of one of those sports that, like, when you start taking a couple of losses in a row, even the wins, you take a beating, right? Sometimes you take a beating, right? Unless you're John Jones and you barely get hit, you know, because he's just, I'm not gonna say he barely gets hit, but he knows his craft. From one wrestler to another, you know, he knows his craft, and not even to put myself anywhere near, right? Because once again, I was a wrestler. I did not do UFC, right? However, like, to go from, the man went from 205 to heavyweight. And it seems like the level of ass whooping that he's given out, that has taken, you know, that's taken the jump as well, right? So, anyways, you know, not to get too deep into it, but as of now, you know, let me just go ahead and just make sure, because, you know, just make sure I kind of, you know, got it out there as far as the direction of this. So, the overarching thing is, it's gonna be fitness, right? I'm a trainer. I love fitness. I love being healthy. There's so many reasons to make sure that, you know, that is on the forefront of what people think about. So it's gonna be fitness. It's gonna be sports. You know, that's what raised me. Of course I got parents, but that's what raised me. Okay. It teaches you so many lessons, right? So sports would be a huge topic, right? Women, you know, we're dudes, okay? We're dudes, right? So, like, that's, of course, right? That's in there, you know. Travel. I've traveled. Once again, I got some good stories for you guys. I got some really good stories. Some of the stories might not make it to, because this is going to be on this is probably going to be on YouTube, right? So probably what I'll do is, like, for super important things, those will probably be on, like, Patreon. One, because I don't want to get in trouble on any, like, social media type of thing, right? Two, because why not try to monetize, like, good information? You know what I'm saying? Maybe visa information, the do's and don'ts in some countries, you know, just things like that. You know what I'm saying? And then just, there's stories I want to tell the bros. I want you to see me as, like, an educated bro, right? And which I do have a bit of education, right? I got my MBA, so I at least know how to read words on paper, right? So I want to be like he's the educated, funny bro that's in shape, and I would have a drink with him. I want that. I that's what I want for you guys to think about me. He's the educated, funny bro that's in shape, and I would absolutely have a drink with homie. Like, why not, right? So that's kind of how I want to be seen. Okay, so back to this. We got the fitness, sports, women, travel, probably a bit of politics in there. I mean, these are conversations that I've had with dudes as I've trained them, barbershop talk, you know, and we're getting, like, in, like, nitty gritty with things, right? Things that, you know, because as you get older, and here's another thing, right? This just made me so happy. A buddy of mine yesterday, he revived this group chat with some guys that I had, you know, with some guys that I grew up with, my dogs, right? My dogs. And that made me so happy. And that just reminded me that, you know, every time, like, when I was training people in person or just talking to guys, it reminds me of, like, when I hear these guys talk, the only thing that's missing is that, you know, as far when I'm talking to them, you know, about a fitness conversation, fitness consultation or whatnot, what I realized that what was missing was that accountability that you would get when you used to be on a sports team, when you used to be on that football team, that baseball team, that track team, that wrestling team, that football team, that thing that you had a core group of guys and we were all after the same goal. Just being able to be a man, get older and get wiser, and still have that camaraderie, you know, that you can go back to, that you can hear, you know, that you can breathe life into, right, with your conversation, and you can hear somebody else's story and you can give them advice or they can give you advice, or you guys just vibe and just throw ideas back and forth and you guys just click and you guys just have just like, damn, like it's like being on a sports team again, right? So that's one thing that I've noticed that you know, a lot of guys still, we need that, right? It's important. Iron sharpens iron, makes you become a man's man, right? You become that, you remain that dude, and that is important. That's important for the swag, the heart, the blood. Is important for your family. It's important for the people around you. You must be a dude, right? You must continue to be a dude and sharpen your dude skills, right? You must. So fitness, sports, women, travel, politics. This is a man's world, right? This is the man's world, and I think as dudes, that's something that we need to be reminded. You know, we got to speak life into each other. You know, we got to lean on one another. We got to help build one another up. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just how it's got to be, right? So those are the topics. Once again, fitness, of course, because you got to be healthy for the family, for yourself, right? And you don't want to be no bitch ass old dude, right? Sports, because come on, right? Women, because, and I got some good stories for you guys. Once again, those will probably be on Patreon, because I don't want to get kicked off any of these social media sites. Travel, for sure. We all want to go somewhere nice, you know, see the honeys, or with your boo. You know, I lived in Thailand for a couple years, Canada, took a Colombia trip to see my cousin, December, went to Brazil for 2 weeks, not too long ago. So a lot of stories coming, trust and believe. And then just politics, because it's all out here. You know, I don't have really I'm not a hardcore Democrat, I'm not a hardcore Republican, I'm not a hardcore anything. But what I do know is the dude in office, Trump, you either hate him or you love him, right? Making a lot of noise, right? I don't hate him or I don't love him, right? We have a president, right? So I'm going to dive a bit more into that because, once again, I like to travel. And one of the main things that I care about is to just make sure that I have a strong dollar, because I want to make sure that $10 I spend here, I want that to go further, like way there, you know, wherever I'm at, right? So those are going to be my main topics. But once again, the new title for this podcast is going to be This is a Man's World. I'm still going to keep my old fitness podcast or audios up. I'll keep those up just to show the growth. Why delete it? Just like my tattoos that I have a couple tattoos. This is a cover up. This is also a cover up. You know what I'm saying? But it just shows growth. Keep it. It shows growth. You know what I'm saying? So that's that. I appreciate you guys for watching. How many times a week am I gonna do this? I'm not sure. But here's the thing. I wanted to make sure that I have a broad enough foundation that I can talk every day if I want to, and just have something good to talk about. Because talking about fitness all day, every day, don't get me wrong, I love working out, but that's just not my thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm more than just a dude that lifts, you know, things that weigh more than him. You know, I have a lot more to offer than that. So this is the direction of this podcast. I'll throw a couple Instagrams out there for you guys. I do have a good amount of fitness content on Keemfit, KEEMFIT. have a lot of fitness content on there. I'll have more up there. That's the fitness one. My normal one is my real name, Waquiem, Waquiem. So that's my normal one. The TikTok is KEEM.fit, I believe. If it's not right, then on the next podcast, I'll say the right one. So yeah, there's a lot more content on those. I just want to come from a different angle for you guys. I didn't like just putting out fitness content. I felt so pigeonholed. I'm not a dude that how say, and I've done this to my dog, that's a pit bull / American bully something, the nicest dog in the world. But when you back him into a corner, even if you're playing and you start to get on his nerves, as nice as he is, I mean, he'll run away from you before you run away from him, right? But if you back into a corner, he will start to growl. And that's how I felt. I felt like I was backed into a corner. I felt like I was backing myself into a corner as far as just mentally, as far as content goes, and just, it's gotta be fitness, but I will preach health. I will talk about workouts. I will talk about nutrition, because I feel like that's the main thing that's killing people, right? So I will talk about that. That's the foundation of this whole thing, right? But there will be those other 5 really strong topics in there for damn sure. Hey, I guarantee you, for damn sure. Because these are the things that I think about. I only think about a couple of things every single day. And these are the main ones. These are really the only ones. The only thing that I didn't throw in there was family, right? And of course, that'll probably be sprinkled in there just because I'm human, So once again, I appreciate you guys listening to this. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna be super fun. I'm gonna have some interviews on here with other guys and whatnot, just to see their perspective, hear their story. Because everybody's story needs to be heard. You can always learn something from a new story, and it's gonna be good shit. I promise you that. So once again, like I said, this is the man's world, right? So it's raw. It's raw. So be great, and I will talk to you guys very, very soon.